Alright, hello everyone. Today we are diving headfirst into one of the web's classic vulnerabilities, CSRF. It's a really sneaky but powerful attack that can actually turn your browser against you. It sounds kind of like black magic, right? But really, it's just a classic old school web vulnerability. So today let's begin our quest to understand and ultimately defend against what I call the Forger's Blade, cross-site request forgery. Alright, here's our quest map for today. First, we're going to uncover its secret. Then we'll map out the attack plan. After that, we'll actually forge the blade ourselves, learn how to build a shield to defend against it. And then you'll have your final quest. Let's dive in. Alright, part 1, the Forger's Secret. We're going to answer the big question. What exactly is CSRF? You see, to defeat any enemy, you've got to understand it first. We're going to find it and reveal the one core kind of broken secret of the web that makes this whole thing possible. So, in a nutshell, cross-site request forgery, or CSRF, is an attack that basically tricks your web browser into becoming an unwilling puppet. Think about it. You're logged into a trusted site, maybe your bank, right? An attacker can make your browser send forward commands like, hey, transfer some money, and the bank just does it. Why? Because the request looks like it's coming directly from you. And this right here is the absolute heart of the matter. This is the Forger's secret. See, when you log into a website, it gives your browser a little digital key, a session cookie. And from that point on, your browser is just trying to be helpful. It automatically attaches that cookie to every single request it sends to that domain. And here's the crazy part. It doesn't care where the request came from. It could be from a real website, or it could be from some hidden code on a sketchy cat meme site you just clicked on. The server on the other end, it just sees a valid cookie and says, yep, looks good to me. It trusts it completely. Okay, so for this perfect storm to actually happen, you need 3 conditions to line up just right. First, there has to be a relevant action, something an attacker wants to make you do, like changing your email or transferring funds. Second, the website has to rely only on those session cookies to figure out who you are. And third, and this is key, the request itself has to be predictable. The attacker needs to be able to guess all the pieces of the request with no weird secret values they can't figure out. Alright, section 2, the attack plan. Now that we got the theory down, let's actually map this thing out. We're going to walk through the step-by-step flow of an exploit and really see why the impact can be so, well, devastating. This is where it gets real. So here's how the chain of events plays out. Step 1, you log into your bank. Totally normal. Your browser gets that session cookie. Step 2, later, you get tricked into visiting a malicious site. Maybe it's a link in an email. Who knows? Step 3, this is the sneaky part. That malicious page has hidden code that silently fires off a request back to your bank's website. And finally, step 4, your browser, just doing its job, automatically attaches that session cookie. The bank gets the request, sees a valid cookie, and thinks, oh, this is a legitimate request, and it processes it. All of this happens in the background, without you having a clue. Impact is absolutely everything here. A good CSRF has high impact, like account takeover. A bad CSRF does something minor, like disabling notifications. Not all CSRF bugs are created equal. Forcing someone to, I don't know, turn off their notifications? That's just annoying. But forcing their account to change its email address to one the attacker controls? Whoa, that's a critical bug that leads directly to an account takeover. And the potential impact can be really, really severe. I mean, look at this. At the highest level, you got things like full account takeovers and unauthorized money transfers. An attacker could literally change your email, trigger a password reset, and just lock you out of your own account. Or they could delete important data, maybe even escalate their privileges if they manage to hit an admin user with this attack. Okay, before we go any further, we need to have a serious chat. This is a Knight's Code, and it is absolutely critical. We're learning these techniques for defense and for ethical testing. You must only test on systems you own or on authorized labs like Portswigger Academy, HackTheBox, or TryHackMe. Let me be crystal clear. Unauthorized testing on live systems is illegal. It's unethical. Always act with integrity. All right, section 3, Forge and Blade. With our safety briefing out of the way, it's time to head to the Forge and get our hands dirty. We're going to actually craft 2 different types of CSRF exploits to see all this theory in action. This is how an attacker forges their weapon. So an attacker basically has 2 main weapons in their arsenal here. The most common one is a post-based attack. This uses a hidden HTML form that just submits itself automatically as soon as you load the page. The other is a get-based attack. Now, this only works if the website is frankly foolish enough to let you change something important with just a simple link, like deleting an item. If they do that, the exploit can be as simple as hiding that URL inside an image tag. So here's the blueprint, the step-by-step recipe for a classic post-based attack. First, the attacker does the action themselves legitimately, just to see what a normal request looks like. They capture that request and they copy everything, the URL, all the parameters. Then they build a simple little HTML page with a hidden form that has those exact same parameters. They add a tiny snippet of JavaScript to make the form submit itself the second the page loads. And then the final step is just luring a logged-in victim to visit that page. Boom. Okay, Section 4, Building the Shield. We've seen the attack, and it's a pretty powerful and stealthy weapon. So the question is, how we defend our castle. Let's dive into the most effective shields that modern web apps use to protect themselves against this stuff. Okay, the number one strongest, most common defense is something called a synchronizer token pattern. You probably know it as an anti-CSRF token. Here's how it works. When the server sends you a form, it sticks a hidden secret and totally unpredictable value inside it. That's the token. Now, when you submit that form, the token has to go back with it. The server then checks to make sure the token is there and that it's the right one. If it's missing or wrong, request denied. An attacker on their own malicious site has absolutely no way of knowing what your secret token is. So their forged request just fails. It's basically like a secret handshake between your browser and the server. Now, there's a second really powerful line of defense called the SameSite cookie attribute. This is basically an instruction we give directly to the browser. It tells the browser when it is and is not allowed to send cookies along with requests that come from other websites. This one can cut off a huge number of CSRF attacks right at the source. You've got a few settings for this. Strict is, well, the strictest. It blocks cookies on all cross-site requests. Super secure, but it can sometimes break normal things, like clicking a link to the site and not being logged in. Then you have lax. This is a modern browser default, and it's kind of the perfect balance. It stops the dangerous cross-site post requests we talked about, but it still lets you, say, click a link from another site and arrive logged in. This one attribute alone basically builds a really strong moat around your application's cookies. But of course, a true knight always tests the castle walls, right? Because here's the thing, developers can implement these defenses incorrectly. A good tester is always going to check for common bypasses. Like what happens if I just remove the token completely? Or what if I send an empty token? And a real classic bypass is checking if a token you get for your own user account can be captured and then reused to attack a totally different user. And with that, we're at Section 5. Our quest is almost complete. You've learned the forger secret, you've mapped out the attack, and you've learned how to build a shield. So for your final quest, I'm giving you a checklist for both finding and fixing CSRF, and of course, a final boss challenge to test your new skills. So this checklist really works for both sides of the coin. If you're a tester, the red team, you're looking for any important action that changes something and is only protected by a cookie. You're checking to see if those anti-CSRF tokens or same-site attributes are missing. Now, if you're a developer, the blue team, you should always use your framework's built-in CSRF protection. Don't reinvent the wheel and make sure you set your session cookie securely with SameSite equals lax. And for the really critical stuff like changing a password, just make the user re-enter their password. It's the safest bet. All right, Knight, your training is complete. Now it's time to prove your skills with a final boss challenge. I want you to go out there and find a real public bug bounty report for a CSRF vulnerability. Seriously, this is how we all get better by learning from real-world examples. And hey, for those of you who want to continue the quest and go even deeper, these are the sources to check out. The OWASP prevention cheat sheet is legendary. Portswigger's Web Security Academy is, frankly, the best place to practice this stuff. And if you're feeling academic, the Zeller and Felton paper is one of the foundational texts on the topic. All excellent resources. And that brings our quest to a close. I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Since most modern browsers now default to SameSite equals lax for cookies, a lot of people tell you that CSRF is a solved problem, that it's a dead vulnerability. But is it really? Or is it just hiding in plain sight, waiting for a misconfiguration? The answer, like with most things in security, is it's complicated. Thanks for joining the quest.